Oh man, why am I always right about this sort of thing? I knew that I was correct about it. I told you I was pretty damn sure I was right about it. Now we all know for a fact I'm consistent. Okay, I'm correct. He says Dragon Ball Super isn't canon. He's still not spelling. He still ain't spelling canon right. Look, this got me. This got me somewhere else right now. This had me in some cowboy boots. I ain't on that. Let's go.
I'm so tired of arguing about this shit too. Alright. Where I begin? First things first, I think Dragon Ball Super is trash. Yeah. We'll start with that.
Well, that's the first thing to start with. It lets us know that because you don't like Dragon Ball Super, well, it basically lets us know that you not liking Dragon Ball Super motivates you to saying something that completely isn't true, right? Where what I can say is you not liking Super is supposed to be independent of this, of whether it's canon or not. However, this is what you start out with, first and foremost. Because this is what you start out with, I just so happen to think that this has influenced how you came to this decision or why you came to this decision. We'll be honest, the decision was never yours to make, and you have literally no influence or impact on it. You see, Toriyama already told us that Dragon Ball GT was not connected to the canon continuity, to the storyline that we were following. And what that means is there is a canon and there is non-canon. Non-canon didn't actually happen. He specified this. The movies didn't happen. GT didn't happen. But Dragon Ball, Dragon Ball Z, Dragon Ball Daima, and Dragon Ball Super, we've all been told that all of these are canon. So let's go.
The fact that he made Goku a dumbass, alright, the inconsistent power scaling, the bullshit back.
Whoa, inconsistent power scaling? No, I just mean it has some contextual situations that, people who hate it wish that it was a little more casual to understand, because you're not trying to understand it. You hate that it's complicated and going deeper than normal. But the inconsistent power scaling to me is when I see Super Android 17 bathe in a Kamehameha from Gohan, and then later be pinned down by Android 18's Rapid Blast and one-shotted by Goku's base form punch, whereas Goku in Super Saiyan 4 was considering blowing himself up to stop Super 17, but a single punch landed the right way can get him out of here. In base form, there's no way, and there's no excuse for it either. Check this out.
Tingle, and I could argue about that shit all day, because y'all keep comparing it to Goten and Trunks. I don't recall Goten and Trunks going Super Saiyan 2 5 minutes after going Super Saiyan 1, and last time
Well, here's the thing. Goten and Trunks are from Universe 7. The Universe 6 Saiyans, well, Universe 7 is second from the bottom in average power level. Universe 6 is not. So their potential is way higher. Also, their planet was never destroyed with the Saiyans, so the Saiyan race overall was allowed to continue to grow with this higher average power level. Kind of like how if the Saiyans in Universe 7 had been allowed to live longer, then as a race as a whole, they would be massively stronger. They probably wouldn't be as strong as a Goku, as a Vegeta, as a Gohan, or whatever the case. They would have to jump on them, definitely, for sure. But they would have continued to evolve as a group. Universe 6 Saiyans were allowed to do that. So, yeah, it completely makes sense why they had the SL eligibility to go Super Saiyan 2, had the power level eligibility to go Super Saiyan 2, and they are extremely talented. Check this out.
Checked. Neither one of them was the legendary Super Saiyan, but I digress.
Wait, Kale is the legendary Super Saiyan in Universe 6. Let me just go back a second, please.
The bullshit back tingle, and we'll start with that. The fact that they made Goku a dumbass, alright, the inconsistent power scaling, the bullshit back tingle, and I could argue about that shit all day, because y'all keep comparing it to Goten and Trunks. I don't recall Goten and Trunks going Super Saiyan 2 5 minutes after going Super Saiyan 1, and last time I checked, neither one of them was the legendary Super Saiyan, But I digress.
Does being the legendary Super Saiyan invalidate Kale from having the potential that she has? I don't understand that, man. Like, what point does that make at the end? At first, you're saying that Goten and Trunks, they didn't, do what Kale and Caulifla, what they did immediately. So we're pointing out that Kale and Caulifla were shown to have, easier access to that transformation, more potential in that regard. But then you say, but neither of Goten and Trunks were the legendary Super Saiyan. And so I'm saying, like, doesn't that increase Kale's legitimacy? That she's a legendary Super Saiyan as well?
Let's get into the meat and potatoes of this bullshit. So I was watching
you can't even be mad. They're not random. They are not random. Okay? Cabo went looking for Caulifla because he knew of her potential to be ridiculous, and he knew her potential to be better than his own, right? And Caulifla knew of Kale's potential and brought her out as well. So they looked for, some of the best that they could think of.
Dragon Ball Super Brawly, right? And they introduced Dragon Ball Minus, or at the very least try to make Dragon Ball Minus.
Well, excuse me, I don't want to give somebody a chance to act like I didn't know this. Cabo went to go get Renzo, and Renzo said, hey, go holla at my sister.
Into the main canon of Dragon Ball. Now, first things first, and I've said this already, Dragon Ball Super is not canon to the anime or the manga.
What the fuck are you talking about? They already said it was. Okay? They already said it was. So this isn't something that's up for debate. You said I already said it. Well, did you prove it? Did you show me where Toriyama said it?
Period. There's no more canon in Dragon Ball GT. As a matter of fact, I'd argue that Dragon Ball GT is more canon than Super is.
So Toriyama was wrong about his own creation. Something that he literally had the ability to dictate and say, okay, well, I choose to allow this to be canon. But he said, no, this doesn't make the cuts. GT is not connected to the continuity, to the canon, to the story. It is not a part of that. It didn't happen in the story of Dragon Ball. Now, the story of Dragon Ball has been what we've been following all along. Okay, those are the pages of the book that we're following. Dragon Ball Super is a part of that same book. It's the same thing. It being flipped over to a different page is not invalidated. We were told by the creator that Dragon Ball GT is separate. It did not happen. Therefore, Dragon Ball GT is not canon, and it could never be more canon than something that is. Okay? Even if the world was upside down, it would still be in a non-canon sector of the franchise, because that's what Toriyama said. Okay, and Toriyama left plans and left materials behind in the past. So there is no such thing as saying that there is no more canon. That's false. And I know that a lot of people might see that Dragon Ball Super carries different continuities, like the movies, the mangas, even though they merge at times, but that's their ability to do. Toriyama told us that was the case, while he told us GT was not canon. So something that the creator says, no, I don't allow this to be canon, can never be canon, can never be more canon than something that he said, yes, this is undeniably canon. Yes, these are canon. Okay, now that we got that out the way, I'm not going to stop and pause and react to that every time he says it. Okay, check this out.
Given how, at the very least, GT lines up with the Dragon Ball Z canon if you include the movies.
No, it doesn't. I'm sorry. It doesn't line up with anything. The movies are non-canon. So, with every breath, you're proving yourself wrong. Yeah.
But, that is its own debacle. Bottom line, Dragon Ball Minus.
Okay, so he didn't have anything as far as that. He didn't have nothing. Now, check this out.
Fuck Super Brawly. I don't give a shit about Super Brawly. Let's talk about Dragon Ball Minus. Okay, you remember Bardock, the father of Goku, which did get his own manga chapter too, by the way. But forget about the manga chapter. Let's just talk about the entire concept of Bardock. He was a Saiyan. He was the embodiment of what the Saiyans were. They were space pirates that...
Skirt! Let me stop you. because you really didn't know what the Saiyans were. We didn't get stories showcasing every Saiyan. And when I hear this, I always think about it similar to how people in other countries hear that other countries are at war. And sometimes certain people may make the mistake of thinking that the decision that their government made is what every single person agrees with. And they kind of generalize statements about everybody. And that's not fair. That's not cool to do, right? A country's government can make the decision to go to war. That doesn't mean that everyone who went through it wanted to go through it or was of that nature. As we've looked into it, and this is the thing, this is kind of about being a know-it-all and merging being a know-it-all with you being in denial of something because you don't like it, with you rejecting something just because you preferred something else. That should hold no relevance over what actually happened at all. We shouldn't have to check in with gray matter to make sure that this doesn't piss him off for it to be able to be canon. So when they teach you something else that you didn't know before in a franchise, it's really safer to just, shut up and listen. That's how I listen. That's how I look at it for myself, in my own personal opinion. I just shut up and listen because I came here to watch, to read, to see the series, to see what happens. I didn't come here to write it. I didn't come here to argue or dictate what happens next. You don't get to do that. And when you get drawn into your agitation so much that you start marking yourself out with opinions like these. This is the same thing Laughingstock did. And you saw what happened to him. He ended up leaving Dragon Ball altogether. People who make this argument always end up leaving Dragon Ball discussions because every discussion is going to laugh at them from this point on. This is a horrible take to have. So when they tell you things like, look, here's this saying you never saw before. He was a normal dude. Paragus kind of did him dirty. He didn't show any signs of being a bad guy. He didn't show any signs of anything like that. Hey, here's Tarble. You know what I mean? Various people. Hey, here's Gine. Various people. And let's keep it real. Even in the Bardock movie, Bardock was shown caring about his allies. You saw how hard he took it when they died. You saw how hard he took it when they died. Therefore, his attitude about his son, I always took in the original Bardock movie less of, oh, this is proof that he don't care about anything. He don't care about his kids. I always took it as, oh, this is his state of depression. This is how he deals with it. They just gonna send my son away is how he feel. So it's kind of a tough guy mentality, like, you know what I mean? A guy locked up might not put pictures of his young ones up. He don't want to hurt himself every day by looking at those, right? They just gonna send him away. Why should I? So I felt that might have suggested he did care and was slightly upset that the way things were gonna happen. And he was like, I'm not about to put myself through that, perhaps, right? But when you see the way he reacted to everybody getting marked out by Dodoria, everybody getting killed, you knew already, and then it was showing signs. So what's wrong with the story? And even in that story, the story emphasizes Bardock realizing, like with Goku telling him in the flesh, it's not too late to be different than him. It's not too this, that, and the third. But it was still about how he came to the decision, or how he came to this development, how he came to realize, how they showed that he cared, right? In this story, in the canon, in the canon, what's wrong with him actually seeing the lines of correlation when he sees someone actually hiding with a child and he just had one? What's wrong with him being like, damn, we done already dropped off everybody here, but seeing this made me feel some type of way, right? I'll just let him go, whatever. You know what I'm saying? I think that it was all in the same trajectory. And that your problem is with the fact that they're telling you Dragon Ball Super has all the authority now. The canon has all the authority. And that's what bothers you, is that they have the ability to tell you how it happened, to tell you what's what. They telling you about stuff that you wanted to be a know-it-all on, and it's time to be quiet and listen. So you saying that it's not canon, that's just, you wish it wasn't canon. But wishes ain't came true yet. And they not gonna when you're talking about another man's series that he's already dictated this one. Check this out.
took over and conquered planets or destroyed planets and sold what they had to the highest bidder. Or sold what they conquered to the highest bidder. That's what the Saiyans did.
Saiyans got royalty. Saiyans got a government. Saiyans are ruled by the people in charge. So history, they just, over time, but you blamed every individual Saiyan and convinced yourself there was no such thing as a Saiyan who was decent. And I think that makes you the problem. And I know this is just a fictional series, but when you get to the point where you're getting mad about things out of that universe and you're complaining about what's stupid, I think it's stupid that you think you can generalize, that you feel comfortable generalizing an entire race of people and arguing against the showcasing of certain individuals who it was more complicated than that. You so damn mad. Go watch Invincible. Go look at the damn Viltrumites if you want that. You know, if you don't want it to be deeper than that, if you don't want people to actually learn from their situations, or you want their situations and circumstances to mean nothing and have no impact on them. The Saiyans also cared about their children. It feels as if, even though they sent them to different planets, they took very much pride in the potential of their children. Check this out.
Nothing in Bardock, the father of Goku, contradicted Z. Nothing in Bardock, the father of Goku, gave you the idea that Saiyan...
It doesn't matter what you think. Toriyama said that mess ain't canon. It didn't happen. You talking about what didn't contradict it. I could come up with a story right now that don't contradict it, but it don't make it canon. So you'll have to try a different angle if you're hoping for success with this video title.
We're just kind-hearted people, or people who didn't like the fight. No, they loved the fight. They lived for battle. That's all Vegeta ever talked about. That's the embodiment of what the Saiyans were. That's what Nappa talks about. Or not talks about, but that's what Nappa shows when he shows up on Earth. There's a whole freaking point.
What was they supposed to show when they was invading? What they supposed to show when they trying to get out of Frieza's clutches? What they supposed to do? Start a flower shop? Hey, what don't you get? Frieza, and before him, King Cold, was bullying these niggas. And before that, they was already a warrior race, but moving off of the orders given to them by whoever was in charge at one moment. By whoever was ruling the Saiyans, they did as a people. This is what they did historically. That's not to say that there were no Saiyans who were soft, who were nice, that there were no Saiyans who learned from their problems. That's you who wants to demand that you better never see a Saiyan that's different. Because you want to hate. Because you want to hate on something that is way better than that. Check this out though.
When Raditz showed up. When Goku, alright, when Goku was sent to Earth, he was a fucking baby. He didn't even have on a fucking diaper. He's literally in a sand pod in his right? And he was found by Grandpa Gohan. And the only reason why Goku was even kind-hearted to begin with is because he cracked his head on a rock. Do y'all remember?
Yeah, I remember. But that was Goku. Since when does everybody have to be Goku? Since when does everything have to be the same? So when they taught you, when the canon taught you that there were Saiyans before, like Paragus, I'm sure he was okay with some battle, but when he found out that his son was being sent away, cool. I'm sure that there was a Saiyan there that if they had just had a child and they seen somebody hiding with their child, I'm sure that it's a Saiyan that exists that would have been like, or that existed, that would have been like, let him go. And the argument, the sassiness, because there's a story where there's somebody who wasn't like that. The sassiness, because we find out that Bardock did go through various things where he started to see the hypocrisy in what he was doing. Although the Saiyan race was forced to do this, Saiyan race had been doing this. You know, a Saiyan is only, that's not the, and this is like what you deal with in Super. people pull down, they mad at Vegeta for the crimes that King Vegeta did, or for the crimes that the Saiyans did, and Vegeta makes it known. I was a child when that happened. I wasn't around when that happened. I didn't do that. And they don't care. See what I'm saying? Because to them, it's all Saiyan. So you agree with Granola and the rest of them niggas. When Vegeta is like, hey, I didn't do that, bro. I was but a child when the Saiyans came down here and did this. When my race came down here and did this. But I was just a little boy. I didn't do none of this. And he like, I don't care. I will have revenge on all Saiyans. Well, I got kids. I gotta stop you. You know what I mean? So it come down to the Saiyans ain't going extinct. The Cerealians is at that point in time. Let's get it in. But that's not to say that, you know, you can dictate everything else. The fact that you're trying to tells me that you're trying to restrict them because of how powerful they are, because of the potential they are, because they're in such a better light over here that you don't want it. You don't want Dragon Ball Super to have this over here. That's why you're mad at Super Broly, because how dare he get to stick around.
But now, according to Dragon Ball Super, which incorporated Dragon Ball Minus, Goku was a little kid in Saiyan armor. And Bardock sent Goku.
Yeah, that was definitely a retcon in my personal opinion. You know, that was definitely a retcon, or at least a difference in art style of how they was drawing it. But to me, it was a retcon. But that's also well within his ability to do. Just like when he specifically stated that GT wasn't connected to the story. Just like when he stated that Super is, when he stated that Daima is. That's well within his ability to do. If he want to retcon a line like that, well, then he retconned that line. All right? But sometimes it's a retcon, sometimes it's a reveal. Those are two different things.
The Earth to protect him. He wasn't sent there as a mission to conquer the planet, like Reddit said, before Super even existed. No. Bardock, you know, was a good man.
Well, here's the thing. Nowhere in the beginning was it really that Bardock sent him to conquer Earth. Nowhere was it said that it was Bardock's plan for him to take over Earth. It was just that's what the Saiyans did overall. That's why they were getting sent to different planets. That was the reason why they could get away with sending him to a planet. They normally do this. They specifically chose a weaker planet so that that nigga could survive, so that that nigga wouldn't be up against odds that his low power level wouldn't be able to handle. And it was a couple of niggas on Earth that could have got him up out of there. If not for Roshi or Grandpa Gohan finding him, he would have been toast eventually. Probably would have met Mercenary Tao and been up out of here. So, you know, which both can be true. The Saiyan race send babies out there to do this, that, and the third. And eventually, Saiyans will probably locate you and probably come make you do this, that, and the third, because Frieza is around. But we gonna try to get you up away from Frieza just before the planet blow up. Just before. But also, when you first hear that, and now it's a reveal. Right? Because when you first hear, when Raditz first comes down, he says it was to conquer the planet. But then later on, you realize that Frieza actually destroyed the planet. Okay? Which allows the reveal that, hey, you left the planet right before the planet got destroyed. They actually got you up out of here. So Bardock going through his own development of being like, hey, this was kind of wrong. And understanding, once you're the victim of Frieza, you got to understand the people that you victimize. You got to. You got to. So it's nice to understand, or it's nice to see that Bardock was slowly coming to terms with that before the moment of, he didn't just get humbled and then, oh shit, I wish I had never done this. Like, no, he was already going through the motions. We're going to come back to this video in a little bit momentarily. Y'all let me know how y'all personally feel about this. It'll be the same topic next time though. Check this out.